Hello everyone, I'm Vinod and welcome to Career Board. So I put up a video last time about what are the tech jobs which can disappear by 2030. And there were a bunch of questions from students around why are things the way they are. Some of them are surprised and some of them had a lot of follow-up questions. So today I thought I'm going to dig deeper into the source of this information in terms of the reason why I thought the way I did. So I thought of pulling out the World Economic Forum report, which is a Future of Jobs report. And I thought I'll dig deep and show you folks some of the insights which you can yourself check out from this report. And a link to this will be put up in my description, the link to the jobs report, and you can do the analysis yourselves. Okay, so first point is that when you look at the Future of Jobs report, it covers a period from 2023 till 2027. So it covers approximately 4 to 5 years. And it doesn't cover till 2030, but still this report gives you a good idea of what you can expect in terms of the trends happening for the next 5 years and the next 10 years. And this data has been captured across 803 companies, which covers around 11.3 million workers. And let's dig deeper into what is it that they got to say. The most important finding is that the technology and IT services roles are going to make up a lot of the jobs which are going to increase in the future. If you're looking at sales, growth and development, if you're looking at HR, if you're looking at technology, IT, there is going to be a lot of growth. But the catch is that technology and IT solutions are also a place where there is also going to be a lot of retraining, a lot of jobs being lost. So it's going to be interesting. A lot of jobs are going to be lost in this sector, and also a lot of jobs are going to be created in this sector. So that's the nature of working in that space of technology and IT services. And since the Indian economy pretty much is focused on IT services, this report becomes even more important for them. Okay, so let's move on to this figure, 3.1, which talks about projected job creation and displacement. So what you can see here is that the violet colored bars are those jobs which are going to be lost in the next 5 years. The ones in the center, the ones in light green, are those going to be those jobs which are going to be present. There's not going to be change. And the ones to the right, which are the dark blue jobs, those are the ones which are going to be created. So you can see that when you look at the job market, there's always some jobs being created. There's always going to be some jobs being destroyed. And you can see that pretty much there are as many jobs being created as many as the jobs are being destroyed. So for example, in terms of the pure numbers, you can see that 83 million jobs are going to be lost in the next decade or so, and around 69 million is going to be created. So if you sitting in India are going to be frightened about the nature of the job market, I would ask you not to worry, because we will look at this fine details later, and you'll see that a lot of the jobs which are going to vanish are those which do not involve any automation. It's direct face-to-face conversations, very low-skilled jobs. I think since most of the Indian students have a certain amount of technical skills and they have a certain amount of computer science skill sets, they will not go through the same problems. So this report we are seeing right now is a World Economic Forum report for the entire world. So what that means is that you're going to see trends worldwide. There are going to be a lot of jobs which are going to be lost in Europe and US, and there are also going to be a lot of jobs being created in India. And one very important fact to note is that the GDP per capita income in Europe and US is much, much higher than India. You're looking at the GDP per capita, you're talking about around $2,000, which is average pay a person makes in India, versus around $70,000 in the US. So most companies would prefer to move away from the high-cost countries like US, Europe, and so on, and move to low-cost countries, shift jobs. And that's where the trends are going to be in the next couple of years. So I see a lot of prospects for people to be optimistic within India. But if you are a listener listening from the US, I would say that maybe this is some thoughts in terms of how you can better position yourself for jobs in the future. So where are the biggest churn going to be by industry? So if we look in media, entertainment, sports, there is going to be around 32% job loss. So recently there was a controversy in Disney by which they were actually recording the facial profiles of people who work in the entertainment industry as extras in the film shooting sets. So they're capturing the images of extras They're digitally recreating it. The reason being that all these extras are being paid around $70 to $100 an hour for some of the work they do, and these the media folks are basically saying that there's no need to pay so much. We'll just replace them with AI, which will create a very similar experience in terms of recreating these people in the background. So there's a lot of change happening in media, entertainment, and sports through AI. And I would say that's going to be a big place where these changes definitely are going to happen. The government public sector is known for a lot of inefficiency. For example, if you look at H-1B, which is a work visa filing process in the US, a lot of it is still being done by paper in terms of you have to fill up physical documents, send the physical documents for the government for verification, they get back to you. There's a lot of inefficiency in the US market when it comes to the visa processing model, and I'm sure that a lot of it is going to be automated. So there is probably not going to be as many people required as in the past. Likewise, in the IT technology and digital communications realm, there's also going to be a lot of jobs lost. There's going to be a lot of jobs created. So there's going to be some churn in this sector. Likewise, in financial services, supply chain, there's going to be impact throughout different sectors. And these are things you need to watch for as you plan your careers for the future, especially if you're a new college grad, you're looking at a new career. These are things you should be looking at, these sort of data points. Okay, let's move on. So if you're looking at this graph here, I think it's extremely important. And the reason why I'm saying it's important because it's showing not just the jobs being lost, but it's also showing what jobs are being created for the next 5 years. So if you look carefully, the ones in gray, the gray bars are basically the jobs being lost. The blue bars are the jobs being gained, the jobs being created. And if you do the subtraction of jobs created minus jobs, it displays that number. The net growth and decline is pointed out as a star, like a 4-pointed star. So if you're looking at maybe the top 10 roles where there's going to be maximum jobs being created, you can actually see that there's going to be lots and lots of jobs being created as AI and machine learning specialists. That's the number one place to be in. There's also going to be a lot of jobs being generated as sustainability specialists. So let's dig a little deeper. Why would this be the case? So if we're looking at AI and machine learning, what's happened is that there's been a wave of automation which has kicked in over the last 2 years, especially driven by significant advances in OpenAI, ChatGPT, and so on, and with Bard, which is the machine learning, the AI system launched by Google. So there's a lot of these changes which are kicking in into the economy. They're driving a lot of further change. For example, you can see the impact on digital marketing, right? So for example, if you want to post stuff on social media, you don't need to hire people to do the work. I mean, a lot of the automation can be done by YouTube itself, can be done by other websites like Canva and so on. They can take charge of a lot of manual work, make your life easier so that you can focus on the more creative part of the work and leave the more manual work, the not so intelligent work to machines. Let the machines do the algorithms for you. Let them take care of some of the dirty work for you. So that's really where the market is going. Also made a comment in my earlier video saying that if you're looking at coding, most people apply their mind, and that space of software engineering, software development is a fantastic place to be in. There's going to be a lot of growth in that sector. But I also know there are a bunch of companies, I'm not going to name them, but they're pretty much IT services company, many of them based in India. What they do is that they have a bunch of people joining, and many of them don't have a computer science background, or they're pretty weak in computer science. So these companies have a lot of training programs to get them interested in computer science, to upskill them in computer science. They give a lot of projects to help them build their skill repository. And during the first year, what many of these folks end up doing is that they end up copy pasting code from GitHub and from other online websites, copy, code, and paste it. So I've had the chance to talk to some excellent students from the top universities in India, and we have worked with them in different capacities. And even in the course of my startup work, I've seen that many of them tend to copy code and paste code. I'm talking the best of students from India. So the unfortunate fact remains that those people who are going to copy and paste code without applying their mind, their jobs are definitely going to be at risk. Those jobs are not going to survive, because I think something like ChatGPT or OpenAI can definitely do a better job than these kids. So keeping that part aside, I'm saying that computer science has got a fantastic future. AI, machine learning, these are all great application-oriented fields which also have a good future. Sustainability is important because when it comes to environmental change, there's going to be a lot of movement happening in the next 5 years and 10 years, and even the next couple of decades, because climate is going to be something which is going to impact the economies of countries. It also creates a disastrous situation for a lot of coastal cities. So there's going to be a lot more focus on this in the future. It's pretty much not gotten the focus it deserved, but I guess in the next decade, there is going to be a lot more focus on this. We're looking at business intelligence analysts. For very basic levels of business intelligence, I think you have right now plugins in ChatGPT which can actually show you graphs and show you insights. So you want to do things which are much better than what ChatGPT can generate. So you want to learn something about business skills. You want to understand how business works and how can you add value to business. Do you understand marketing, operations, sales, HR, corporate strategy enough so that you can put all of this together and come up with a solution that suits that specific company? Right now, the AI algorithms are nowhere close to doing this. So that's where humans can make a much bigger contribution. Information security, right? There's a lot of threats. And again, those are places where still a lot of intelligence is required and a lot of human beings will still be required. Fintech, you're looking at analysts and scientists, data analysts and scientists. Clearly, there's going to be a huge need. And again, these are roles which goes beyond basic analysis, basic data analysis and basic regressions, right? That's something which anybody can do, even machines can do, but complex problem solving is something which machines are totally not equipped. Robotics engineers, big data specialists, again, the digital transformation specialists, blockchain developers. These are spaces where no automation has made any significant advances. And clearly you can see that there are going to be very few jobs lost in these sectors and going to be lots and lots of jobs being generated in these sectors. So you're looking at a career for the next 10 years. Please look at this chart. It's going to be probably one of the most important charts you have looked at. Likewise, let's shift to the other space, which is where the jobs are going to be lost. So if you look very carefully, you can see that there are going to be jobs lost in the space of being a legislator, being an official, if you're working in accounting spaces where you're doing just data entry, if you're just doing a lot of administration without adding value, definitely these jobs are going to be lost. If you are, say, a clerk and you're just getting paper from somewhere, pushing paper to another location without adding value, your jobs are going to be lost. So I think it's a very low-end work which is going to be automated, which are going to be eliminated. And because most Indian students are not in this space, they tend to be engineers, they tend to be scientists, they tend to be working in spaces where there is manual labor involved. Those jobs, I think, are going to exist. They're not going to disappear overnight. Automation does place a threat to manual jobs, manual labor. But again, the cost of robotics to replace manual labor can also be very expensive. So it's a kind of trade-off that these companies always got to make. So in a place like India, I think jobs are going to be still there. And I think the worry is basically for the West, where a lot of the jobs, the traditional paper pushing jobs, they call it bean counter jobs. Those jobs are going to vanish. So again, recap in terms of some of the stuff I talked about earlier. Some of the largest job declines in terms of millions are going to be in spaces like around 7 million data entry clerk jobs are going to be lost. Administrative secretaries, executive secretaries, these jobs are going to be lost. I know that, for example, if you're on Zoom and you're having a call, there are currently programs which will actually give you the minutes of the meeting. They just collect all the information together, process it through AI, and give you the minutes without any person getting involved in creating the minutes. Likewise, a lot of those jobs are going to vanish. Accounting, bookkeeping, very basic jobs anyone can do. Automation is definitely going to replace that. Many of the security jobs are probably going to be replaced by automated systems. Building caretakers, housekeepers, again, manual work, which are going to be lost. Again, many of these jobs are not exactly like physical manufacturing jobs, even though a little bit of the assembly and factory operators are going to be impacted. But again, it depends. Like in the West, hiring a person as an assembly machine shop operator can cost you around $70,000 to $80,000 a year. And that's too expensive. And it costs like 1/10 of that number or 1/20 of that number in India. So in India, probably these roles are going to last much longer, but those jobs definitely going to vanish in the West. So likewise, you look at the country-wise impact and then decide in terms of are these jobs going to exist or not exist. The skills on the rise, I think this is a place where, again, I would want to leave students in terms of thinking about when you're looking at a career, when you're looking at a first job and so on, don't just focus on the first job, second job. Don't just focus on compensation. set yourself up for success in the long term. So in the long term, just beyond computer science skills, I believe that computer science skills are going to be important. Even if you're in, say, the core mechanical engineering jobs, civil engineering jobs, computer science skills will still matter because a lot of disruption will happen in that areas, and you'll probably have to automate mechanical engineering workplaces. It could be machine shops and so on. And only if you know computer science and automation can you make the automation work in the manufacturing shop floor. But keeping the technical skills aside, there are also a lot of people skills and business skills which are important. And these are the ones listed here gives you a very good understanding of what are some of the very important skills required and what are some of the skills which are going to be less important in the future. So if you're looking at jobs like which involve creative thinking, analytical thinking, technological literacy, and so on, these things will be extremely important. So any job which involves you to go outside your comfort zone, look at things from a different perspective, bringing some original insights to the table, those is linked back to the creative thinking skills. And these jobs will be very important. Likewise, using data to make decisions, that's analytical thinking, that's going to be very important. Understanding different programs, understanding how to work with data, those are technological skills, those are going to be important. Being curious is also important. You cannot just go to your workplace and do the same job day after day without thinking about how can you change your job, how can you make it more efficient. So that curiosity to learn, and also the curiosity to sometimes unlearn bad practices and relearn new practices, which we call lifelong learning, right? Even those are going to be important. I think that the nature of jobs in the future is going to be such that you finish your undergrad, work for a couple of years, then do your master's, work for a couple of years, then do maybe a PhD, work for a couple of years, and maybe after 20 years of doing a PhD, when you're in your mid 50s, maybe you'll have to go back to college once again and then go back, do your master's in a different space, learn something new. I think lifelong learning is always going to be there. And for those people who can't afford to go to college, there are always going to be options. There's going to be online learning options. You can pick up books and learn. You can do projects and learn. You can watch YouTube videos and learn. You can go to Coursera and learn. You can go to edX and learn. There's just so many options that one can never say that I'm done learning, right? That's not going to happen. So I have a friend who graduated in 2003 from the College of Engineering, Guindy, and which is one of the top engineering colleges in India in mechanical engineering, did an MBA from one of the best schools in India, and was working in some of the top manufacturing companies in India. And he worked as a general manager in many of these companies. And right now, this person is almost 20 years past his undergraduation. He's actually doing a master's in data analytics from IIT Madras, which is one of the top schools offering online programs in data analytics. And I asked this person, so why are you learning something new? And he said that these skills are very important in the workplace. And he does know a lot of the data analysis himself, but then upskilling, relearning is got to be the nature of tomorrow's job market. And that's something you always got to do. Systems thinking is in terms of looking at the big picture and trying to come up with solutions for an entire company, an entire system or process. Understanding AI, big data is going to be important. There's just going to be so much information in all these different spaces, which I think you should reflect on. So look at this diagram, look at what are some of the skills required for the future. And when you look at the jobs you're going to be targeting, ask yourself, will I be able to gain some of these skill sets in my next couple of jobs? This is what should be guiding your decisions in terms of what is it you have to do for the future. So focus less on compensation, focus more on skills. I always give this example of you want your skills to be high and your compensation to be low. And that's an ideal spot to be in. You don't want to be the other situation where your compensation is high and your skills is low. Because when your compensation is high and your skills is low, you are just days away from losing your job. And you'll always be replaced with someone else who's ready to work for lower compensation. Ideally, you want to be in a situation where you're learning a lot more than you're getting paid. That's a very good spot to be in. And getting the right compensation is just one job hop away. So we skip one company, move on to another company, you can get the exact compensation you require for your skills. Focus less on compensation, focus more on skills. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this. Okay, folks, so I hope you learned something from this conversation today. If you have more comments, let me know below in the comment section. And if you like this video, please feel free to share it with others. Till next time, bye-bye.